this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a granny triangle. Hello, my name's Karen Stangram and welcome to Conquer Crochet, the channel for tips, tricks and techniques for conquering your crochet. Everything I talk about in today's video will be linked in the descriptions below. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss a single stitch. So if you're keen to get going with this video, give me a thumbs up and let's do this. So for this tutorial I'm going to be using double knit yarns, and I'm going to be using a 4mm crochet hook as recommended on the label of these yarns. I'm going to be using a yarn needle to sew in my ends and a pair of scissors for cutting off my ends. So I'm going to start off with my first colour, and I've chosen the pink, and we're going to make a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're then going to make a slip stitch in that first chain that we made. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 chains away from the hook. And to do that we insert, yarn over, pull through that chain and then pull through the loop on your hook. We can pull the tail to tighten up, and then this here becomes the loop that we're going to work into. If you prefer to do a magic ring, you can do that, and I have a whole tutorial on that in the descriptions below. So then we're going to start off making our first part of the triangle. So this is round 1 and we're going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the stitches for this round are going to be worked into this loop that we made with our starter chain. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to make a treble into that same circle. That's treble in UK, that's double crochet in US terminology. So I've yarned over, insert, yarn over, pull through. I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that is 1 treble. We need to do another 3 trebles. That's another 2, sorry, 3 in total. So 1, 2 and 3. We're then going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So this becomes our granny cluster, and this is the start of our side. So we're going to do another 3 trebles, so yarn over, 1, 2, and 3. And you'll notice I'm actually going over the tail here. That's so I don't have to weave in my ends when I finished making. If you want to weave your ends in at the end, then that's perfectly fine. I just don't like weaving in ends. Okay, so that's the next treble, and then we chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we have our 2 sides here, and we need a 3rd side. Now at the beginning we started off with 6 chain, but there's only 3 in between, and that's because the first 3 chains of that 6 chain are going to count as a treble in our next cluster. So we're only going to do 2 trebles for the next side. So that's 1 treble and 2 trebles. And then we're going to do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, which means I've got 1, 2, 3 left over. I'm going to insert my hook through the centre of that chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through and pull it through the loop on my hook. So now I have the starts of a triangle. Okay, if you want to carry on with the same colour you can. I'm actually going to change colours here. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through. I'm going to take my scissors, snip my ends off, and there's my baby triangle to start with. So I'm now going to change to my new colour, and you can join this in however way you prefer to change colours. I prefer to make a slip knot, take my hook out, insert into one of the 3 chain spaces, it really doesn't matter which one, put my slip knot back on my hook and pull through. Then I chain 1 to give me my loop. So now I'm going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these 3 now are going to become the corners. So we're going to do 3 trebles. So 1, 2, and 3. And as with the previous round, the first 3 chains are going to be part of this corner, but we'll come back to finish this corner later on. Now with this granny triangle, we're going to chain 1 to travel. So I'm going to chain 1 because I'm travelling over this cluster here. I'm then going to do 3 more trebles in the next corner. So yarn over, make my first treble, make my second treble, make my third treble. I now need to make my corner chain for the next round, so I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to make 3 more trebles. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So that's what a complete corner looks like. I'm going to chain 1 because I'm going to travel over this cluster, and we're going to do another complete corner. So 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, that becomes the corner for the next round. 3 more trebles, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 because we're going to travel over this cluster, and we're coming back to this corner here. So we have 3 trebles in the chain 3, and then this chain 3 counts as a treble, so we need to just do 2 more trebles into that corner. So that's 1 and 2, and then we slip stitch into the third chain. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain there, and again I'm going to fasten off. So you can change colours as often as you like to different variations. I'm going to go back to the pink for this round, and as we started off with round 2, you can start anywhere you like in any of the triangle spaces. Now what we have that's different in this round is that we have side spaces as well as the corner spaces. Okay, so I'll explain how that works when I get to those. So I'm going to join my yarn, in exactly the same way as I did when I changed in round 2, and I'm going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, that's going to become part of the 3 trebles in this corner and the 3 chain to travel. So in the same corner we're going to do 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3. We're going to travel over this cluster, so we're going to chain 1, and then in this cluster we're going to do another treble, so in this space we're going to do a treble cluster. So we're going to do our 3 trebles in that space, 1 and 2 and 3. Then we're going to chain 1 because we're travelling over this cluster here and we're back to a corner, so we're going to do 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 3 for the next next round corner, and 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel. In a side again, so we're going to do 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3. We're travelling, so we chain 1, back to a corner, so we're going to do 3 trebles, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 3 for the corner for the next round, and then 3 more trebles, 1, 2 and 3. We're travelling, so we chain 1, 3 trebles in the next side, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel over this treble cluster, and as we had last time we have a chain 3 and the chain 3, so the chain 6 becomes chain 3, which counts as 1 treble, and then the other chain 3 is the same chain 3 as we have in the other corners, so we only need to do 2 trebles in this stitch here. So that's 1 and 2. Then we're going to slip stitch into the third chain, 1, 2, 3, and again I'm going to fasten off there. You can see our triangle is starting to grow, so I'm just going to do one more round for you, and we're going to start in a corner space, doesn't matter which corner space. So I'm going to join my yarn, and our corners are done exactly the same as we've been doing throughout, so we're going to chain 6, and then we're going to do 3 trebles in the same corner space. That's 1 and 2 and 3. And essentially this is exactly the same as round 3. Each round you're going to increase the number of side spaces that you have. So we chain 1 to travel, and this time we have 2 side spaces, so we're going to do 3 trebles in the first side space, chain 1 to travel, 3 trebles in the next chain space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel over this cluster, and we come to the corner, do 3 trebles, we chain 3, we do 3 more trebles, we chain 1 to travel. Now we come to the sides again, so 3 trebles in each of those side spaces, making sure that we do our chain 1 to travel over the cluster, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel over that cluster, and we're working into the next chain space which is a corner. So we go 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, and then 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel. We come to our sides, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to travel, and we're back to our starting corner where we have the 6th chain. That counts as a treble and 3 chains, so we're going to do 2 trebles in that last corner. That's 1 and 2, and then we count 1, 2, 3, we slip stitch into that 3rd corner and fasten off. Or indeed, if you're wanting to, you can carry on in the same colour. So that's how our triangle looks. Obviously it would need to be blocked. So you could make several of these to make some nice bunting. You could put 6 of them together if you wanted to make a hexagon, which would be quite a nice pattern to have if you want to make a blanket, or maybe a scarf or something would look lovely if you had sort of hexagons next to each other. Be a really sweet pattern to use. I've seen this used to make a sort of slipper. Imagine this is a foot, and you chain something to go around the middle toe and then a chain to go around the back, and this sort of decorates the top of your foot. So there's lots of things you can do with this triangle. Obviously I need to sew in my ends and I need to block my work. And essentially what you need to do when you start a new round, start in the corner, chain 6, then do 3 trebles. Make sure you do 1 chain every time you travel over a cluster. Do 3 trebles inside clusters, and then when you come to a normal corner, it's 3 trebles, 3 chains, 3 trebles. And when you come back to your first corner, where you have that 6th chain, you just need to do 2 trebles in that corner. And you can change colour as often as you like, or you can keep them all the same colour, entirely up to you. That's how to do the granny triangle. I really hope you found today's tutorial useful. If there are any information that you need to find out about this video, have a look in the descriptions below where I post all the links to any freebies and other videos I think you might find useful. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed this video, to give me a thumbs up below. Don't forget also to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you've enjoyed it and you'd like to see more of my tutorial videos. There are 2 other videos on screen to help you on your crochet journey, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!